afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon, everybody.
It was just one Indian always on this stage, so I thought I'll bring an Indonesian colleague so we could do this as a tag team. A fairly controversial topic. I'm ready to be shot down. The topic today is an alternative to the duopoly. I have attended many conferences over the last 4 or 5 years where this has been the running theme. And hopefully today we are here to share you a story. This talk is not about technology. This talk is not about a product. This talk is about a story. And we want to tell you a story about an Indonesian initiative where we are trying to find out the alternative. Let me start with a little bit of humor. I call it the programmatic humor. For those who don't know, the Indian Railways is perhaps one of the most successful digital marketing divisions in India. Their website and their apps have got some fairly large consumption. And this was a WhatsApp message that went viral. Somebody trying to book a ticket was shown an unpleasant ad, and he wrote back to the master telling, hey, I'm getting these ugly ads. So the reply came back, we use Google's ad serving tool ADX for serving ads, and these depend on cookies, so you better clean up your cache before using our solution. Right? Now, that brings us to the current paradigm. All of us know, we have seen this particular picture a zillion times. That is the programmatic world. You notice that the advertiser is not connected to the publisher, and it is a very, very technically solid, sophisticated supply-demand impersonal auction process in place. All right? But then, when you get into and talk to the advertisers and you talk to the publishers, it looks like it is not a nirvana of any sort. Once upon a time, 15 years ago, you wanted to be a publisher, you should be a radio station or a television station or a newspaper publisher. Not anybody could be one. But with the advent of digital, anybody who can create a website, anybody who can create a mobile app is a publisher. So there are zillions of them. When there are zillions of them, only a solution like programmatic can work. And with it comes a lot of other issues. Ad fraud is an example. Growing mismatch between the needs of the publisher versus the needs of the advertiser is another. And above all, when you run a complicated system like this, the data that is available both to the advertiser and the publisher are all in snippets. It's post-mortem. It is no nirvana. Now, some key questions. I mean, you're the audience. I mean, you're all dependent on the programmatic process. One more incident like Cambridge Analytica. Governments will force these large organizations to be broken up. What happens to your core business? Governments are trying to make sure that these organizations are properly classed. I don't know whether you saw the ACCC activities in Australia recently. What if they raise their prices? We've all seen the advent of mobile in the last 5 years. But if you look at how the advertising world has gone through it, whatever we did in the browser has graduated to the mobile. But the mobile has got a lot more brilliant capabilities. Why are we not taking advantage of that? So what we did was we met up with multiple experts from well-known ad agencies, sat with them to say, hey, is there an issue with these systems? And by the way, this presentation is really around the lessons we learned. and what we have done about it, right? Uh, the end game really is to answer that question, is there an alternative? Or we just follow Google and Facebook? At this point in time, just to summarize what we learned, the publisher has got inertia. The advertiser has got inertia, right? They don't want to change. And the wish list is fairly exhaustive. But the most key interesting points there was, we do not want to get into, we don't want another DSP. We don't want another system to put in our ads. By the way, we need complete transparency, control over content that is being displayed. We need options to segment and target. We need real-time campaign control. These were all things that came out of our discussions with the marketing fraternity. And lo and behold, I mean, a lot of these things are, technology can solve a lot of these problems. So this presentation is not about technology, it's about how we went about. By the way, just let me take a quick note here. How many of you people here believe an alternative is necessary for the duopoly? Hands up. Show of hands, please. There are a few. Okay? So everybody is seeking an alternative to the duopoly. And this comes down to what is it that we did. We had some technology, and the story was around how we could actually create an ecosystem that could kind of be an alternative. And in here, we noticed that with the advent of the internet, with the advent of the mobile and so on and so forth, newspapers were disrupted, telephone companies did not have, their revenue was declining. But all these people had a lot of consumers, a lot of people who were actually leveraging this. So when I met up with Park Norman, we said, listen, we've got some technology that we could probably use, but we need to create an ecosystem. This is the story I want to tell you. We need to create an ecosystem that can efficiently leverage a technology that can simplify this whole process. Today, between the advertiser and the publisher, do you really know that there are 10 or 12 handoffs that happen every time somebody opens a browser? Okay? Can we actually, and when I met up with Park Norman, I suggested to him, do you really know any telecom carriers? Maybe you should take over now and tell a few words about how our friends from, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Ananda. I was waiting for almost 10 minutes already. So, again, my name is Norman. I'm the protege of Pak Ananda. Yeah. Thank you for Pak Widi and Pak Setio from Metranet Telkom already attend this session. Actually, the chart that we want to show, so when he came at the first time, he said, I would like to introduce his idea. Can you introduce me to somebody that actually can help to monetize this idea, blah, 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 blah. And with the help of Pak Setio and Pak Widi from Metranet, basically now we have some inventory from Telkom Group that already become our testing.
So a big thanks to Pak Satyo here, who actually gave us the little break that we were thinking about. What we did was, we approached Telkom Indonesia and said, hey, listen, we've got an interesting idea here. You got a lot of digital properties. Can we actually put all your properties into one umbrella so that we can then go to the advertising market and say, hey, here is a super supply side platform. And they were kind enough to give us some 15 of them, and on the back of that, we were able to reach out to another half a dozen. And in 2.5 months, this actually became 1.5 billion opportunities a month. And this is really what the story is about, how to create a local alternative. So what did we do? We basically had some technology. Now, technologies, they grow, they change. We came in with a technology that could understand the online consumer, whether it is on the mobile or the browser or the mobile, so on and so forth. We went to the people who were the nodes. These were the publishers, the mobile app publishers, the website publishers. And then what we are doing now is around this, we are building a unified interface. So, if an ad agency now wants to leverage this very interesting ecosystem where we know who the consumers are, we know how to segment it, so on and so forth, it's a system that was built for the marketing fraternity with all those wish lists in mind and designed for the publishers who are getting marginalized. Basically, when the ad agency signs into that interface, there are no more auctions. They know exactly where the ad is going, when the ad is going to be placed there, what kind of audience we have, and they can post their ads directly into the inventory available. And more important than that, the data that is being collected is visualized in real time. And the same data is available to the publisher and the advertiser. So what we are trying to do here is take out all the little kinks that were there, like ad fraud, so on and so forth. And obviously, for the publishers, one of the big things is we need fulfillment. Now, this is just a startup in its sense. So we need fulfillment. So what we are doing is connecting it to an ad exchange too. In other words,
I think I need to do this because this is the easiest one. Yeah.
Next one.
Or next one, not this one. Yeah?
So, as my sponsor here, he wanted proof that this is really something that will work. So we said, hey, get a couple of advertisements and we will run it. This was one of the first ones we did.
Yeah, this is one of the health apps. We make it anonymous. Yeah. That actually they asked us to do the test, and then actually they're asking whether we can do the 2,000 clicks in 10 days, and then actually we deliver more than what they expected.
Similarly, there was a movie that was being released.
This is also one of the cinema chain. They expected us to test whether we can do 5,000 clicks in 10 days, and actually we deliver 5,530 clicks in 10 days.
But this was ads that were delivered to a known community, segmented and driven, basically. So, the most interesting thing about the approach that we have taken is we said the mobile is different than the browser. So we have a unique mobile-first approach. The idea is to ensure that the advertisers get return on investment that is completely measurable every step of the way. A system where the advertiser is able to directly post their content into a known inventory, and that is completely transparent to both the publisher and the advertiser. And give the advertiser the control to tell their story. See, this is the whole issue is with the capabilities of the mobile or capabilities of the browser, you have an ability to capture and tell a story. And can you do that? Can you enable storytelling on the device? So that is really what we went about doing. And this is being worked through Indonesia right now, so it's a story that's continuing. It's not the end of it. But we bring to the table some new capabilities. See, today we were all talking about digital advertising. Digital advertising is shown only when the internet is open, only when you're browsing. We have a different way of doing it. We can actually do an ad at the end of a telephone call. That's a telephone call. The call you answer, at the end of the call, you're delivered a full screen ad. Now, what is important is that has got offline, online, the whole shooting match to connect the consumer to the brand. And every piece of interaction that is happening is measured, monitored, and is available both to the publisher and the advertiser. Right? Of course, we took these capabilities, and the way we have designed this is very simple. We have the ability to actually deliver it through a telecom carrier, zero touch, to the publishing world. Anybody who's a mobile app publisher can now go to the telecom carrier and say, I want to monetize. And the telecom carrier will give the mobile app publisher a small piece of code from which this will all happen. Similarly, we then extended what we learned in the mobile to the app, so we are coming the other way around. One of the biggest issues we found with newspapers was ad blockers. So we did a simple demonstration. This is actually showing a newspaper digital. One of the ads is belonging to us. All the rest are coming from the programmatic world. The ad server, the ad blocker is turned on, and what is left is only our ad. So we can actually deliver ad solutions that are slightly ad block resistant. And even this is a zero-touch solution that could be offered by the telco. So in other words, slowly, we are trying to see, can we actually empower a telecom carrier to start a new line of business called digital value-added services, monetization as a service to websites and publishers. There are some considerable differences between the standard programmatic world and the collaborative programmatic ecosystem that we have created. Basically, it is local telco anchored, and both the advertiser and the publisher know exactly which content is being seen where in real time. And any response, any engagement data is available to both of them. So in other words, it's democratization of data. And of course, keeping what the advertisers want, we have been able to create a self-help portal where the advertisers can tell their sequential stories. So, the alternative. We believe it's the local telecom carrier. You can shoot me down, but if they are given the right kind of tools, they can actually, because they own the data pipes. They are the people who are delivering content to the mobiles. They are the people who are delivering powering every desktop with internet. So imagine the local telecom carrier as the alternative. And what they need is a very interesting thing. The telecom carrier needs a zero touch, zero OPEX, zero CAPEX solution. And for this, we have designed a very unique model. Advertiser, the network operator, and the consumer. Now, consumer is a very forgotten story in the normal digital world. In our case, we have come up with some very interesting gamifications to encourage the consumer to consume this. And by the way, while we are doing this in Indonesia, this has started to attract great traction. India, Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines, we're about to even touch the Middle East. So, telecom carriers are warming up to this. And very soon, the telecom carrier will support the biggest super supply-side local platform, the alternative to the global digital duopoly. Right? So that is really a story that I wanted to tell you. It's still work in progress, but if the telecom carrier really takes on this, you will have an alternative. You will have a local alternative, and they are the company that is delivering data to the consumers. Thank you.
Thank you. Terima kasih. Selamat siang.